In this lesson, we're going to use the midpoint formula to find the center of a line. The midpoint formula, given any line segment with endpoints, the midpoint can be found by simply adding the x's, adding the y's, and divide by 2. So the formula is to find the x coordinate of the midpoint, you would add x sub 1 and x sub 2, meaning the number in x's place of the first endpoint and the number in x's place of your second endpoint, and then divide by 2. To get the y coordinate of the midpoint, you would take whatever number that's in y's place of the first point and whatever number that's in y's place of the second endpoint, add those two together and divide by 2. So again, all you have to do is combine your numbers, your x's and your y's, and divide by 2. So we're going to use the same 2 points that we used in the distance formula. So taking our x's, put them together, take our y points, put them together, and divide by 2 will look like so. Let's start with our x coordinate. On top, I have a -3 and a +5. That's going to give me a +2. So for my x value, I'm going to have 2 over 2, and we'll simplify that in a moment. Let's take a look at our y values. So I have a -2 with a +4. When you combine that together, it's going to give you a +2. So again, what I have is 2 over 2 for both my x and my y. Let's simplify that even further. We know that any number over itself equals 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1, which means that my midpoint, my middle or center of my line, is located at 1, 1. And if we go plot that over here on our rectangular coordinate system, over 1 and up 1, that is right in line with where the center of that line segment is. So we were asked here to find the diameter of that circle using those endpoints. You can always find the center of any line as long as you know the 2 endpoints. So just add your x's, add your y's, divide by 2, and it will give you the location of where the center or the middle of that line is, which is called the midpoint, using the midpoint formula. Let's do another example. This time we have no graph, but you are given the 2 endpoints of this line. So you have a line, and the endpoint on one of the one end of the line is -8,4, and on the other end of that line, the endpoint is -2, -6. Now all we need to do is plug those points into the midpoint formulas, and then we can identify where the location of the middle of that line would be. So recall, with the midpoint, you're going to take your x's and combine them together, take your y values and combine them together, and divide by 2 for both of those. So let's start with our x coordinate. When we combine our x values together, we have a -8 combined with a -2. Remember, when the signs are the same, keep the sign and add the number. So that's going to give us a -10 on top over 2. Let's take a look at our y values. We're going to combine a +4 with a -6. Recall, if the signs are different, subtract, take the sign from the larger number, and that's going to give me a -2 on top over 2. Let's simplify these two even further. For the x coordinate, negative 10 divided by 2 equals what? Yes, negative 5. And negative 2 divided by positive 2 is what? Yes, negative 1. So therefore, the center or the middle of my line, the location of where it's located would be negative 5, negative 1. And there you have it, the midpoint formula.